Welcome back, and thanks for joining me as I continue sharing about my cancer journey. This post is entitled Unexpected Turn of Events. After the lumpectomy, where they removed the breast cancer tumor, they wanted me to have what's called a PET scan. The purpose of that is just to make sure that there's no other cancer anywhere in the body. So they scheduled me for the PET scan on April 22nd, 2020. During the PET scan, they put radiation into the body, and the test will show if there's overactive or defective cells, which probably would indicate cancer. They show up as bright spots because of a higher metabolic rate than normal cells. So before the test, I'm given an IV. The nurse dresses in a protective gown, which the first time I had one of these, it's like, this is kind of scary. She's protected and they're putting that stuff into me. She carefully extracted the radiation from a protective container. Then she inserts the radiation into my IV. During this time, I'm sitting in a recliner and I wait for a period of time for the radiation to move all throughout my body. During that time, I'm not allowed to look at my cell phone, can't watch TV, or have any type of activity. It was explained that if my brain was too active, it could influence the test negatively. So I just sat there and waited. Kind of looked at the clock, but didn't want my brain overreacting, so just sat there, relaxed, and waited in the recliner. Then, once the radiation was throughout my body, I'm taken to the scanner. I lay on my back and I have to lay completely still during the entire scan. Well, a few days later, I got the results for the PET scan. And it revealed an unexpected turn in the road. It showed high cell activity in the lung area, right in here, which could indicate a second cancer. I felt like my whole world had turned upside down. I thought I was through the worst. I really did not know how to handle this test results. I was just overwhelmed. The Kettering oncologist gave me 3 options. First, she said I could do nothing and they could just keep monitoring it, observing it with other tests. 2, I could have a lung biopsy. 3, surgery to remove it. Emotionally, I was at my breaking point. I had had so many tests, procedures. This is right after surgery. I could not handle anything else. So instantly, I chose number 1. I had been on this roller coaster for 3 months and there was just no way was I going to do anything else. Well, at the same time was when I was being transferred back to my hometown because the Kettering oncologist thought the distance from where I lived, if I had problems with treatment, that it was too far away. So she encouraged me to move back to my hometown. And the first time I saw our local cancer center, I don't even know how to explain the emotion. You see, I didn't even know it existed. It was on the backside of my hospital. I'd always been just to the front. But I looked at it and I realized I was going to have to go to this center for many procedures for a long, long time. I was overwhelmed. I will never forget what that picture looked like. So I had moved back to my local oncology area to meet my new oncologist. I really liked her, but she said I had no option. she insisted that I get a lung biopsy. And she explained that it would be a big long needle. They would insert it in me through my lung in order to be able to get to the tissue where the tumor was. And internally, actually, I think I said it verbally. I go, no way. I was horrified. No way are they going to, I hate needles, let alone a long needle to go in me, let alone through my lung. I just didn't know how I was going to handle it. So in my story right now, we're going to have to take a little detour because 2 days after I had this PET scan, I was scheduled for a port to be implanted. And the reason they prefer the port is it makes it a lot easier to put the chemo drugs into you instead of every single time having to insert an IV into your arm. So on April 24th, 2020, I went to have the port implanted. And I got there to the prep room and changed into a hospital gown from the waist up. And the picture you're seeing is when I was in the prep room. They inserted an IV, and thankfully my husband was allowed to be with me. I found out later because of COVID, he wasn't supposed to. But somebody let him through, and I'm so glad because it really helped calm me down. Remember, this was 2 days after I had the PET scan, so my emotions were like up here. And so I really am glad he was able to be with me. So prior to the port being installed, the doctor came to the prep room, introduced himself, and he had such a bubbly personality. I really liked him, and that really helped to calm me down. And he asked if I had any questions, and I asked, where's the port location going to be? Because I wear a lot of scoop necks, and I didn't want it to show. And I really think he took that into consideration, because right here is the port, and you can't see it. So I'm thankful for that. So they wheeled my bed to the procedure room. When I got there, I was shocked at how lit up it was. It looked like a surgery room. It actually scared me. I'm thinking, is this a bigger deal than I realized? I'm laying on the bed and they put this short curtain up so I wouldn't be able to see what they were doing, because see how close it is? And they had me have to turn my head to the right so that they could get to it. And I have neck issues, and to have to hold my head that way to keep my chin out of the way, it was extremely uncomfortable. Well, he inserted those horrible, painful, numbing needles again. But the doctor talked to me the entire time through the procedure, and that really helped to calm me down. They also played music. I asked if they could play Christian music. So they took out their cell phone and changed it to Christian music, and that also helped to calm me down. But during the procedure, I felt a lot of pressure in my chest. I'm thinking, am I having a heart attack? And I told the doctor it really hurt, and he really had no idea why, and that really scared me. Thankfully, it went away afterwards. But later I realized it might have been because the muscles were real weak from the lumpectomy that I had a few weeks earlier. And it was also about the time that I was supposed to start exercising. So I had used those muscles that hadn't been used, in a few weeks. So that's the only explanation I could come up with. But to explain what the port looks like, it's triangular in shape, it's plastic, and it's similar to what this picture is. And attached to it is a catheter, which is a thin, flexible tube that runs under the skin to the superior vena cava, which is the large vein near the collarbone. So right here, and I can actually feel it. It's hard. This is the port, and the tube I can literally feel it under my skin, runs up to here and then into the vein. The port is usually installed on the right side, but because I had the lumpectomy on the right, they put it on the left. And like I said, I can feel this hardness here. The incision where they put that in was about 1 inch, and the incision up here was a 1/2 inch. And this picture shows the bandage over the 2 incisions right after surgery. They also put plastic over it to try to help protect it. Now, after the surgery, I was very self-conscious for months with the incision because people could see it. It hadn't healed. But you can tell right now, you can barely see where it's at because it healed really good. So after the procedure, they took me back to the prep room where my husband had waited. And after a little while, he took me home. But what I was not expecting was the pain that I felt. After I got home, the pain was 9 out of 10. It was excruciating, and I don't like to take prescription medicine. So I chose not to, but looking back, I really should have. It hurt so bad. And possibly the pain had something to do with what I explained a little bit earlier, where it was time for me to start exercising. I don't know, but it really hurt. If I would have known about the timing, I probably would not have had the port inserted then. I probably would have waited until these muscles got a little bit stronger. Now, one thing that they gave me was a bracelet. And on this bracelet, it shows the type of port that they gave me. And I can wear that for emergency purposes. You know, if I was in an accident or EMS had to take me, then they would know exactly the type of port that I had and what they needed to do. So I'm done with getting my port at that point, and I want to thank you for joining me on this journey. Next time, we're going to go back to the PET scan results, and you'll learn about what my lung biopsy experience was like and the outcome of that procedure. I thought I was already on a roller coaster ride. I had no idea the ride that I was on now and how grueling it was going to become. I want to leave you with an inspirational thought. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. This is a very common verse, but it's powerful. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. That's from the New Living Translation. You know, I had a lot of bad reports over the last several months. I had to cling to God's word and attempt to trust Him with my whole heart. I could not manage on my own thoughts or my emotions. I had to trust that God would give me wisdom in choosing what I was going to do in the future, or being able to accept the treatment plan that the oncologist was recommending.